Hi guys, Gavyn and Alex here, and the topic of today's podcast is: do you need strength training after the age of 40? So we're going to pick Gavyn's brain today. He's obviously, many years experience in personal training and working primarily with people over 40. So Gavyn, tell us your take on it. Like, do you actually need to do any strength training after you turn 40?
Yeah, cool. So it's a really good question, and I guess strength training really, I would say, is like one of the elixirs of life and longevity, because ultimately, like, your muscles on your body essentially carries your body around in time and space. So if you've got less muscle, you're less capable, essentially. And what's interesting is after the age of about 30, your muscle mass decreases between 3 and 8% per decade, which is a lot, right? So when you put that into perspective, like over time, it could be 20-30% decrease in muscle strength, muscle endurance, and that really affects your day-to-day activities. So there's like a graph that you can't see on it, and what happens is like a disability threshold you get into. So if you don't resistance train or strength train over the years, you end up hitting that disability threshold. And that's where you need help doing daily tasks like carrying your shopping, walking upstairs, getting up off the floor, off chairs, all that good stuff. So strength training is really, really important after 40.
Fantastic. So can you just so basically every decade you tend to lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass per year. So is that the process? Can you prevent that from happening?
Yeah, totally. Like weight training is seen as something for gym bunnies, but it's not. It's like, you should be coming and training. And what I say is resistance training is building a reserve for life. So you can compensate because muscle is an active tissue and it reacts to stimulus and load. Then everyone can do it. It's not out there as possibly for everyone, but what it is, people will tend to shy away from gyms because they feel a bit intimidated and not quite sure what to do. So like really, when you look at resistance training, it's just about putting some load on the muscles to make them work harder than what they currently are. And that could be standing up off a chair 20 times, which is going to build up your leg strength to prevent you from falling over. Simple as that. It doesn't need to be an awful lot. And they're all things that we can do, but I think resistance training really is, you could use your body weight, you could get up a chair, you could walk up some steps, you could just challenge your muscles a little bit until you feel a bit of a burn in the muscles, and really that's kind of what you need. So in terms of like how much per week, then what the studies are showing on how we do our growing younger is that you need to be doing about 9 or 10 to 18 sets of exercises for each muscle group. But it sounds a lot, but when you put it into a full body workout 2 or 3 times a week, you can easily spread out those sets per muscle group. So, it's really achievable for nearly everybody, if you're able-bodied anyway.
And what do you think, like, if someone hasn't done any strength training for years or even decades, like let's say someone is in their late 50s, maybe 60s, is it not too late to start doing some strength training? Yeah,
sure. I mean, no, it's not too late. So, I guess the old adage, like the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the next best time is now, isn't it? And we got like a real life case study here. So we got a guy called Warren, and he's in his mid 70s. And when he first came to us, he literally could only do 4 or 5 sit to stands off a box. And now he's doing 3 sets of 20 squats from a box with a weight. So even at 74, with a walking stick, you can absolutely increase our muscle strength. It's just practicing it, and because muscles will adapt, they will. They're living tissue. If you put stimulus on them, they grow. Surely he may not get the results now that he would have had in his 20s, but absolutely improving what he's doing. But yeah, for sure.
I remember you were showing me the diagram of a calf muscle, or cross section of a calf muscle, of a person in their, I think it's in their 20s, and then versus a person in their 70s, and and these are sort of, both people are not particularly active, and the difference between a 70-year-old and a 20-year-old was just absolutely striking. There was so much more fat tissue instead of a muscle. Yeah. But then the second set of pictures was basically, again, a 20-year-old, but the training 20-year-old person who was very active. They probably do a bit of training, maybe a bit of running, and then a 70-year-old who is also active, also healthy, active, and all that kind of stuff. and the difference between them is actually very, very minimal. So you couldn't even tell them apart.
No.
So what I'm trying to say here is that if as we age, we can still stay in very good shape, be still very functional, but we just need to put more effort into maintaining the right training intensity, the right training frequency to make sure that we stay where we want to be, essentially.
Yeah, that's right. Because it affects your flexibility, your mobility, your endurance. Everything comes from your muscles, and it's very much use it or lose it.
Yeah.
And even when I had knee surgery and stuff, I couldn't do much with my leg, but the leg itself, the atrophied or the muscle tone went within about 6 weeks, and it was completely different the other side. So if you can imagine that, what can happen in such a short space of time if you're not using it, that if you go year by year by year of not doing it, you become very, very weak.
Well, there's actually one interesting fact that I know from my physio training is there's certain muscles in the body that they only take as little as 6 days to waste away. Okay, so there's a muscle called VMO in your thigh, and the studies have been done. It only takes 6 days of doing very little for you actually start to lose the muscle mass and muscle strength in the area. And I mean, obviously, other muscles might be a little bit different, but it doesn't take a lot of sitting on the couch to actually for your body to start to basically fall apart.
Yeah, waste away, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was something else actually on that as well, and they said that your leg strength declines twice as fast as your body strength as you get older. So that absolutely aligns with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that explains all the how sort of older people run a higher likelihood of falling and breaking their hip, and that's primarily because of the the weakness in their leg muscles. So yeah, that hopefully answers that question. That's great, and we'll speak to you in a few days with another podcast.
Yeah, have a good day, guys. Bye bye.